Welcome back, Noble Heroes. We return to our characters as they try to find a spot to share delicate information. They have just found Pitt's corpse, though they are not so positive about that. And the Queens have made some necessary declarations about that. Our characters find themselves... did you want to go back into the room with his corpse, or did you want to go to a different room?
We're going to that same prior meeting room. The prior meeting room, the one that was made for private talks. Shit.
The one we went to at the start of the session today.
Okay, that was back at the Citadel. You are in the prison, which is a totally different building.
Oh, okay. Well, I assume we went to a private meeting room that is probably there because there's usually a meeting room anywhere you go.
Okay, you are led to the same meeting room that you guys found Potjack's giant body in, like yesterday. So giant time warp Potjack is no longer in here. But you guys are in the same meeting chamber where a table is now set up for meetings between the Paladin Order. You enter, and some runes alight for the quiet of your conversation to the outside world.
So, hold on. While they're being led to that room, can I take a look at Pitt?
As you head in...
Wait, did they already hear that Pitt was dead?
Yes.
Oh, hell. Who spread that?
Harper asked the Paladins as he came into the building.
Those Paladins are the worst!
He's one of them!
I don't care!
Well, the Paladins are going to go home. They're going to tell their brothers and sisters. And it's just gonna...
Seriously, what the hell? What are these kings doing? Keep your people in line. Oh.
What do you mean? Harper gets to know almost the secrets of the city.
Yes, but you don't just say offhandedly tell him as he's walking down the hall with a group of people.
He didn't. Harper asked what Pitt's status was.
Oh, still.
I'm just picturing the Paladins going down the street. Guess what, guys? Pitt's dead!
Yes, I'm picturing super derpy little guard Paladins. Like he's telling everybody everything. What
You're
is
ridiculous.
wrong with
You are making this
my
way
God.
sillier than it is.
Don't be silly then. Ugh, I call it like I see it.
Alright, they're going to answer Harper truthfully when he asks a question.
Yes, but Mike, your security measures suck.
Who do you
was
say
all
that
out of
to?
game. That was out of game. That was
Oh, that was
me
directed at
venting
Daniel?
and directing at Daniel, who made up the security measures for the Citadel.
This isn't the Citadel!
Whatever. Oh, God. Okay, we're good. Continue.
Alright, so if I get to take a look, Isaac is no stranger to feigning death through magic, either to himself or others, and so he wants to see if he can use his experience to maybe spot something June didn't.
Yes, please.
Make an advantaged medicine check, Isaac.
Are you doing this
Okay.
before we talk?
He said he was.
Okay.
Checking my stats real quick. 16.
Ha! It's the same thing I got.
Damn.
You
I was
are...
wishing for it.
If there is any funny business going on, you are unable to detect it.
Alright. Isaac gets frustrated, he walks out. He joins the rest of the party in the other room.
You see that Piercy is gray-skinned and laying very still-like on the table. His eyes are like 1/4 open. And it looks like all the blood is sort of drained and down his body.
How long has he been dead?
About an hour.
Okay.
Something's going on.
All right.
Are you increasing the time frame on purpose?
What?
Like signs of stuff that he's been dead. Like, are you increasing the decom?
The poison has clearly had some effect on his body.
Okay. Thank you. I just needed to know.
All right. So, you guys find yourselves in this meeting chamber, and Harper is going to ask, did you know he was dead when you came? Or did you figure it out when you got here?
This is why we needed a private location to sleep. She gestures for you to tell what you learned.
I was gonna say I don't want to go through the whole thing again, but yeah, she would tell them what she learned, minus the personal stuff.
All right, so you all, Isaac.
Specifically, she's going to hit on the fact that Josiah is Piercy's father, and that he was trying to get Piercy out.
Okay, so Red, Faline, Opt, Harper, Hero, Prongor, Isaac. Those are the people that are going to hear this.
Correct.
And all of you will hear
I
about...
don't particularly want Prongor in the room, but I'm pretty sure Isaac will be upset with me if I get rid of him. It's mostly because I feel like he's more likely to be targeted by mind readers to go after because he would be the more weak-willed of the group. But that's
He's the weakest link.
June's personal opinions, and she's not sharing that with the group right now.
All right.
Okay. I didn't hear any of that.
Correct, sorry.
Okay. There seems to be in the Paladin Order, at least, there is very clearly like a mild panic about how this occurred, as it is very clearly a slight upon their security issues.
I'm already sliding their security, but that's the point.
Harper seems thoughtful and maybe very, very slightly melancholy about it. Do any of you have a passive insight above 17?
No, mine's a 16.
I think mine's past perceptions.
Okay.
Wait, how do you get your passive insight?
Plus 10 to your insight.
Okay. And what would it be?
17.
What is yours?
15.
Gotcha.
Faline sort of seems to be looking to Harper to see if he has considered some kind of special option.
We also tell you guys that Ace is his kid as well.
There is a lot of startlement around the table. Isaac, how do you react to finding out that Ace is Josiah's child?
Honestly, he's not surprised. But he's keeping his composure at that.
Seems like crazy doesn't fall far from the tree, Hop says.
Indeed, exactly what I said.
Nearly word for word.
Hero is going to say, so are Ace and Piercy brothers?
So it was
Wow.
Though I don't know if they're aware of that.
you. Nor do we know how their viewpoint is on it, or if they even know who their father is.
I don't know, but Piercy seemed to have quite a strong hatred of Josiah when I spoke with him before.
Sorry, I genuinely don't remember what he said. I know what happened out of game, but I'm not sure if what I remember what happened in.
Out of game, he offered to, kill Josiah together, and there was, some real hatred on his face.
But he
when
didn't
came about it.
specify
He
what.
didn't
right?
specify
Okay.
anything.
Okay,
right.
just checking.
And we have been informed, Phelan says, that Harper is now part of your prophecy.
Yes, so it would seem.
Well, it's good to join the group then.
Well, it is nice to be able to call on 3 more astounding heroes to help, if possible.
So, where are we going? Hop says.
Wait, are you all coming?
Where Harper goes.
Why not? Red asks. I mean, I guess. Of course, if you're all right with it, Phelan says. We just assumed that.
More help is welcome. I'm not a fan of change sometimes.
Wasn't your crew supposed to meet us at the White Boar?
They were. Did one of you go by and get them?
Prongor is going to say, I thought I saw Johnny in the crowd, but, well, we just walked by them.
Oh. She pulls out the messenger coin and hands it to you.
She takes it, jots down a note. Where do you want them to meet us?
We were going to ask, Harper says, we were discussing the Forgotten Place.
June glances between Isaac and them and is actually fairly surprised that he told them. Kudos, man. She looks pleased that he said that.
Isaac was asking us permission to enter the Forgotten Place. Harper's going to look over towards you.
Harper, do you mind if I tell her about Tear? I don't think even June knows what you told me.
Go ahead.
Or perhaps June's been holding out on me. But
She raises an eyebrow as she's waiting for you to talk.
Harper revealed to me that about, Daniel, he said 4 years ago, right?
Yes.
Okay. About 4 years ago.
Wait. It was after...
after your fight with her.
Yeah, so that was... It was a year after that, so it was 9 years ago.
Okay. About 9 years ago, Tear was taken from the Forgotten Place by Khalid. So it's no longer there.
Okay, do we know by whom?
He said by Khalid.
Oh, you did? Sorry, I missed that. She goes, huh. I suppose them taking it wouldn't have been a problem. She shrugs.
Well, it wasn't exactly easy for them. Harper says, a bit annoyed. We fought against them, Phelan says.
I meant more recently. Not from you.
What? Hop says.
It's unimportant at the moment.
so mad about that one.
Anyways, since we were on the subject I mentioned, maybe there was something else in there that would be of use to us.
Are you going to let us in there?
The kings have already granted approval.
Spoke to the kings about it.
Judgment. If he thinks those treasures are too dangerous, then I don't think we should, but I'll let him make the final call on that.
Well, if it's anybody's call, it's mine, Red says. I have the keys.
She nods, as she didn't. Oh, did I know that?
Yes.
She goes, indeed, which was why
Remember,
I was planning.
the magistrate looked on the little scroll thing and saw that Red had the
She
keys.
goes, oh yes, now I remember that I was planning on asking you about that. It's so irritating.
I haven't opened it up in a couple years now. But, I think one of your boys went in. He says, looking over towards Isaac.
Against my instructions, but one of them did.
Bullshit against your instructions.
It was actually against his
I
instructions.
don't entirely understand. He implied
Oh, wait.
he wanted it to come in.
I don't remember. Did Isaac heavily imply that he wanted them to go in, or directly say he wanted them to go in?
It's more along the lines of, I don't mind if you do.
I think he directly said, do not go in.
I I don't remember that.
I think
but-
he's right, actually. I do think I remember him saying to watch.
Because I was shocked when he showed up and was like, "Hey, boss, I went in there," and I was like, "What?
Oh,
You
okay.
did what?"
I remember that.
All right.
Red
Someone
says,
said pass check.
Daniel was like rolling Constitution saves for.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay.
Red's going to think about it for a minute, and Opt is going to like kind of lean in. What you think? Red says, well, from all I've seen of you guys, you guys get into really dangerous shit regardless of what I do, so, I mean, I guess we might as well.
June is not really caring either one way or the other, especially since the item's no longer in there, but she wouldn't mind looking.
But there's some pretty crazy shit.
Crazy shit sounds interesting.
Probably look and don't touch first.
Sure.
She glances at your grabby little fingers.
He's going to kind of like hold on to the key for a second before he seems to look down at it. And then-
you just came with us.
Yeah. So, you guys have roughly 2.5 hours before the tea ceremony, and
I
Heroes.
still need to talk to Psychic King guy.
to Hero's party. So, it takes about 45 minutes, or no, I'm sorry, not 45. It takes about 30 minutes to get out to the Forgotten Place from where you are. So, you can get up and back fairly easily in the amount of time that you have, and have maybe an hour or so left.
How long is the summit supposed to go on?
Probably all day.
Okay, so he'll be fine right now.
Almost assuredly he'll stay several days. And he
Okay.
said he would stay.
I know, I told him I would meet with him afterwards, and it's rude to,
I'm just picturing him standing there waiting and waiting and waiting
Yes,
for
I mean-
hours on end.
I'm assuming he's with the summit, though, so. She does make a point to write a note to him saying that she has a few errands she needs to take care of, and for him to. That she will contact him as soon as she will be able to.
I think I'll pass on the Forgotten Place, if you all are alright with that, Harper says.
If you think that's best. Insight?
Sure.
$25.
Beneath this calm exterior, there is a great fear of that place.
Rack brains. Do I know of any connection? Although I don't know why I would. Never mind. I have no idea why I would know anything about that.
Kind of concerns me if Harper's really afraid of that place, though. What are we going into?
I think it's more personal. That is how June is interpreting it. That it is more of a personal thing. He would stop us if it was a truly, direct threat, I'm assuming. Can I at least infer something along those lines, knowing what I know about Harper?
You think you're fairly close. Red offers to take you all, if you want to go.
She looks over at Isaac, who's the one who started this job.
What was June's question?
Well, Red just asked if we're ready to go, and you're the one who wanted to do all this, so.
Oh,
To the Forgotten Place.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and I don't think the party has anything more important going on. Yep.
No, I think
Isaac's
we need to send the message to everybody to meet at a certain location so that we can now plan with our new enlarged group what we're doing next. Because we had already started making plans, but now we have 4 more people.
Yep.
And minus 1 other.
Yuffie's gonna need to include in that message to them some instructions to plan for some additional mouths to feed and some changes to people who are coming along.
Yes.
And wherever we decide to meet, she'll put on there.
Your group is now too large to stay in most places except for the Citadel.
I was going to say, can't
Or
we meet at
the-
the whiteboard?
You could. The whiteboard is big enough.
Okay.
I think the whiteboard would still be an okay location, considering it's still a, it's a place most people would go.
She'll tell him to stay there.
My house is still good, and so is the academy, but getting Harper to go there would be fun.
On the way out, Faylene is going to... One moment. She's going to walk over to a messenger box and reach inside and pull out 2 packages. And she's going to come back over, and she's going to kind of like look in a meaningful way towards Euphemia. And she sort of like gestures you to come over.
She does.
So, when we left the White Boar, Harper told me that he's joined with you all now. I need him to come back. When I was very young, my fate had me taken to a tower where I lived for many hundreds of years. But before my birth, my mother had made special items to be given to me when I turned into a teenager. I never got to use those items, for I was much too large to fit them. But they would fit you.
Why would you give me this? To
Like I
use to
said.
protect Harper. Right?
And to make sure you come back. They're very well suited for your talents.
What are they?
She's going to hand you both packages. As you rip open the first one, you will see a pair of green reeded shoes.
Oh, they're cool! Nobody will ever be able to notice she is going anywhere at this point. Just gonna sneak everywhere.
Nice.
As you tear it open, finely strapped elven shoes fit for royalty, with tiny points on the front. As you look at them, you see that they are, perchance, exactly the size of your feet, although they were surely made for a very young elf maiden.
Euphemia looks a little bowled over by the enormity of the gift. I don't think I ever thought I'd wear boots like this in my life.
Faylene has a small smirk on her face. Well, I'm afraid I'm about to exercise additional power over your fashion sense, she says, as she offers you the secondary gift.
Euphemia tears into it with a little more excitement.
Immediately, a great something, like a blanket, is going to fall from your hands. As you kind of hold it up, it's a cowl.
Ooh. Ooh.
She explains to you both of their magics.
This will be extremely helpful. Do they? So just that one requires attunement. This one does not.
Correct.
Nice. You're gonna be a ghost.
I like it.
So you gain a cloak that when the hood is put up, you camouflage into the background, and boots that silence your steps and leave no tracks.
freaking fabulous.
Faylene looks pleased with your expression.
She has probably never gotten, she's rarely gotten a gift of this enormity from someone she doesn't know that well. Euphemia looks down at her boots for a moment and immediately starts unlacing her boots to put the new ones on.
All right. As you unlace your heavy leather boots, you put on these soft shoes and are surprised with how nice they are on your feet. You feel like you're standing on clouds. They have a springiness to them, and as you walk, it feels like walking is easier.
Nice.
And then when you put the cowl around, Harper is going to turn and kind of notices, and he gives a smirk before walking onto the carriage. Opt is going to pass by and say, "Wowee!" As you put the cowl up, your body's going to shimmer and then sort of blends vaguely predator-like into Faylene and part of the road.
Euphemia is going to sneak around to where the rest of the group are. Are you all paying attention to this at all?
You probably out of the corner of her eye as she was watching the sex exchange, and she kind of smirked when you got really excited about clothes.
Can you see her now?
I don't know. Can she follow her along if she saw her go camo-y?
So it's like Predator. It's mostly translucent, and you can see behind her. When she doesn't move, she's almost completely invisible. But when she does move, there's a ripple in the air.
Okay.
You saw her eyes are following you?
She stays still for a second.
Faylene's eyes are going to rove over the area where you were. Femia? She says.
She pulls the hood down at once.
All right.
You do see it. It's very mild because she's actually in conversation with somebody else, but she was keeping an eye out the corner of her eye, and she's like, "That's cute. That's gonna be helpful."
She will turn to Faylene. This will probably save my life at least more than once, if not others.
I hope it does. At least twice.
Thank you.
Thank my mother. She said,
Didn't we meet her at one point?
"You met her father."
Okay. I was like, maybe already.
Euphemia will say, mothers, I find, have interesting foresight on what their children may need in the future, even if it doesn't always look like what the child expects.
Also, thank my Amazonian build, she says. I'm sure that if I were very slender, perhaps I might be able to fit into the cowl.
Well, thank goodness.
She says, also, we're going to be working together. As you get into the cart, Opt is going to look across the way at Prongor. The two men are actually quite similar of build, except Opt is very, barrel-chested, and sort of his head is kind of small atop a very large, rotund body. He kind of looks across the way, and then, looks between the two of you, and he says, "So, I ain't been to Selenox too much. Gets cold there this kind of year, right?"
Is he asking me?
Yeah.
What time of year is it?
It's going into summer. I mean, it stays cool on the water, right?
You'd think so, but it's actually quite a bit more humid than it is a place like this, so it feels much hotter.
Ah, terrible. I was thinking about taking a vacation there. You got any recommendations?
I'd recommend going somewhere else.
He says, well, that ain't much of a recommendation, he says.
Unless you like to gamble, that is. You won't find better gambling halls anywhere else.
Well, I got me 2 little ones. I was more hoping for something more family-friendly.
Ah, definitely not Selenox, then.
He has 2 kids. Yeah. 2 adopted children.
Oh,
You can't die.
What was that?
Because I feel like in stories a lot of times someone talks about their kids and then it's like a death flag.
Prongor is going to lean forward and say, I would go to Gerdo's lucky coin if I were you. I'm sure your kids will love it, he says, recommendedly. Got a play place or something like that? The whole thing is a play place, Prongor says. Perfect for children. They'll learn all about money counting.
oh God. Stop him, please!
Money counting. That's interesting.
Isaac gets kind of a smirk on his face, and he says, that is one perspective you could take on it.
So I'm to understand you're a very wealthy man. Op says towards you.
I do come from rich parents, and I did build up some wealth on my own in my younger years. It's not much. It's not of much use to me now, but
Always wondered what that would be like to be so grand, he says.
well, you're part of Harper's crew, are you not?
Well, I was never rich, he says.
Maybe not, but the joys that come from being part of a group like this are better than any amount of coin. It's not that great.
Hop is going to kind of nod and lean in a little bit, and he says, ain't but the past 2 or 3 years or so I've been really recognized as part of the crew, to be honest with you.
I can't imagine.
Before that, I was kind of the weird duck-footed person that followed them around, you know? Ain't nobody appreciate ascended archers. There's so many of us, you know? Tough crowd.
Would I know that to be true? Are there a lot of ascended archers in particular?
Archery and sword wielders are definitely the most common ascended.
Okay.
This will make sense.
Well, there may be many of you, but you're far and away the most famous, at least from what I know.
You're too kind, but that ain't true at all. He says, you'll see the most famous ascended archer when he shows up for the Garen tournament. Can't miss that son of a bitch.
Do you think you could
That's
outshoot him?
cheating.
Huh?
That's totally cheating.
I ask him, in a show of sportsmanship, do you think you could outshoot him?
Well, I always try, he says. There's 2 archery tournaments. There's the normal and the ascended one. If your fate helps you at all with archery, you've got to enter the ascended one. And we always fight, me and him, to the very last. 4 years in a row now, I've come second. But one of these days, I'm gonna get first.
Are you attending this year?
Of course! I got a reputation to uphold, he says.
Well, then I can
Second best
I can
archer
feel
in Mythia.
feel it, Opt. I think this year's your year.
That's what my daughter says. So it's got to be true, you know? He says, you ever been to Pendulum?
Have I been to Pendulum?
No.
No, I can't say I have.
That's where my wife is from, he says. I've never been there neither, but she tells me lots of stories about it. I thought you might have been there since you from Selenox.
Does she live here in Garen with you?
Oh yeah, us and the 2 wee ones, he says. They ain't ours, 'cause we, we different. But, we done adopted them.
Children are children. Adopted or not.
I like to think so. What about you? You got any kids? He says towards Prongor.
Oh,
I
sorry.
cannot have children, sir.
Did he ask me or Prongor?
He asked Prongor. Pop's gonna kind of lean in. Sorry about that. I'm sure that if you wanted to have kids, it wouldn't be no problem for you, as handsome as you are, sir. He says towards Isaac.
You know, it's not something I've spent much time thinking about, if I were to be honest.
You won't acknowledge your son?
And then Isaac stops and he says, oh, well, actually, I guess you could say I have one adopted child as well. He travels with us, actually. You'll probably meet him before too long.
You guys have an
Little tiefling lad.
What was that, Daniel?
A little tiefling lad. He asks.
No, he's, like your children, he's not much like me. He's something different.
Adoption is perhaps the greatest gift you can give, he says. Whoever the little wee lad is, I'm sure he feels lucky.
You know, the funny thing is, he kind of adopted me, so I had no idea until it happened, and now I agree with you, yeah.
I feel the exact way about my kids, he says.
Now, I bet you'll never guess who his adopted mother is.
He says, do I know her?
I'll let you ask him when you meet him. He can tell you himself.
It ain't Faylene, is it?
That would be
It's
weird.
not Faylene.
Well, I never would have guessed that, except I guess I did, he says. Red's gonna jump into the cart. He says, this one's full, you take the next one. Out the door. And you guys are off. He's gonna come out to the coach driver and direct him out to the cemetery, the resting lands beyond the gate, and gives him a coin to speed it up. In the other cart, Faylene and Harper, Hero, June, and Euphemia.
Well, Harper wasn't coming.
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, he's getting dropped off on the way.
Okay.
So we all think that Pitt isn't dead, right? Faylene says.
Oh, yeah. Entirely.
I wonder what the means of this poison is to get him back up then. Do you think the plan was to have him buried?
Her jaw as she's like, I wanted to know that, but they just got rid of it all. She's never gonna get that.
I didn't see any mind threads coming from him. So whatever it is, it seems to have shut him down.
Typical Aragothian burial procedures would have the body shipped home.
We would bury it in the resting land so it can be brought back as an undead, but we would give him the right rituals. Harper says.
But he could still be gone.
Or potentially, depending on his magical talent, could unbury himself. Either way, the king's movements should prevent either one of those from happening.
I'm sure there's something we're overlooking. To take that, there's probably something more we're not seeing.
Indeed.
As you all drop Harper off, you begin to near the resting lands. And when your coaches drop you off near the great statue of Torgath the White, you travel to its base, where together you all see Red is going to feel the ground and then pull up a hidden chain that he pulls back on, and a trapdoor kind of swings down, revealing an ancient underground cellar beneath the statue itself.
Okay, remind me again. The Forgotten Place, you forget it exists, right?
Right.
How are we keeping it in mind?
So you're not. Red is leading the charge.
Well, how did we remember when we wanted to go there?
Red asked you. It's like Red's power, you know of its reputation.
Gotcha. But we didn't.
What do you mean?
We didn't know of its reputation then.
Of what?
Of the Forgotten Place. We'd never heard of it.
Yeah, we
We
had.
sussed it out through means of him researching in the library and through clues about its surroundings.
That's right.
So, just purely off of that, it's not like an exposure type of thing? Kind of like him?
So, like, somebody can write down what red is like in a book, and you can read that and then have that in your mind as a separate entity from Red himself.
Okay.
But you won't remember any meetings you've had with Red or anything like that
Right.
Until you see it.
until you see
So-
it again.
So is this Forgotten Place like that?
Yes.
So like once you see it, you remember things?
If you've been there.
If you've been there?
If you've been there, yes. That's
You're not like
correct.
going to forget where you are if you're inside it?
No.
Okay.
So you are because Isaac gained the knowledge from a book written by someone who had been there. She was able to transfer the knowledge of its reputation to him, and then he was able to search for that reputation.
Cool. Thank you.
Got it.
Sorry, I was just a little confused on the logistics.
Right.
You're like, let's not go down there and forget where we are, and that's the end of the campaign. Is we ended up in the Forgotten Place. The end.
We forgot we forgot. But we forgot. Yes.
As you go, as he pulls up the chain, you hear a lightning crack across the sky, and a small drizzle begins to fall.
That's not ominous at all, she says.
Not even a little bit. Is there anything we should know that you know?
So, I won't remember it till we're inside. Red says.
Oh, well, hopefully it doesn't trigger upon entry.
He says, I actually, sometimes, when I wake up, I can remember it. It's like fate forgets me. But otherwise, I gotta have this. He says, holding up the key. It shows me where it is. And since nobody can remember me, nobody can steal it. He's going to go up towards it. He hesitates very slightly outside the door, and then is going to put the key, which is blood red, into the lock. And as he turns it,
June holds her hand up before he turns it. She goes, can we all agree to not touch anything until we discover what it is first, before we go in this place?
I do want to register. I feel personally attacked.
It's not just you I'm talking to, my dear.
Isaac's going to uncharacteristically pipe up and be like, yes, do not touch anything in here.
Like I said, personally attacked.
Faline is... I think it might be best if I stay outside. If somebody's going to read my mind to try to figure out what this is, I'd rather there not be any trace of information about it.
Very well.
I got a bad feeling. I'm not sure why, Hop says. Maybe I'll stay out here as well.
Two Death Knight bodies inside?
I'm pretty sure that was us, Hop says.
Can Death Knight bodies come back?
Are we still in the resting lands?
Yes,
So technically, no, right?
correct.
But then again, this place's fate could counteract that fate. Or override it.
I'm almost 80% sure the bodies are dead down there, and pretty far gone.
Well, let's hope. But be prepared otherwise.
Red is going to turn the key and kind of grab onto this big handle and pull, and a kind of dirt is going to break off from the door.
June takes a step back.
You look into a yawning, dark mouth, a tunnel that leads down, made out of dirt and stone steps. And there's a couple root ends that are kind of sticking out of the ceiling, which is seems like it's kind of dark soil.
June is going to click on the ultimate magnifier.
Almost immediately, you're going to see a hellish red aura of powerful magics emanating from inside.
Well, that's promising.
promising something.
Isaac, the Sin Stone is going to react to the door opening.
Isaac will turn and say, Red, do you know if there's supposed to be undead inside of this room?
We're not down far enough yet for me to remember that.
She goes, didn't I just say there were the bodies of Death Knights inside here?
I don't think my amulet would react to the bodies of Death Knights.
I never said they would just be bodies.
Okay, the realization hits Isaac's face and he says, oh, never mind.
How does one fight a Death Knight?
I would know this information, do tell.
You just shoot him with arrows, Pop says.
So Yuffie mimes like stabbing something, like...
You got it.
Okay.
Pop says.
Are there any particular methods that are especially effective?
Real quick like.
I wasn't asking that in game.
Don't use necrotic damage.
Well, that makes sense.
She does turn to Isaac and said, perhaps no necrotic damage?
And turning is relatively ineffective against them.
And I'm assuming you might know that, but she'll say it anyway.
Isaac does full necrotic damage to everything, regardless of it, whether or not it resists it, so.
Maybe hit it with your staff.
You know who would probably be helpful with the damage department? Roland.
Yes. Or Harper. But
Some sort of holy paladin. Alright, shall we go?
after she said that, she goes, but
You all step into a moist, cool, damp tunnel that heads down. The stair steps are cave-like. The ceiling has the tips of roots sticking out the top. Isaac, it is exactly like the description written in the book. You head down, and the tallest of you duck beneath a slight bend in the ceiling into an antechamber.
it was never especially stated, but June would have definitely turned back into herself after the jaunt in the tunnels, by the way. But
She had a halfling buddy.
I did.
maybe later. Not everybody is aware I can do that, so.
You are almost immediately greeted by an array of strange, exotic, and terrifying sights. The first one, and the most noticeable, is an empty hole in the middle of the ceiling in the room, where surely Tear once hung. And beneath it,
Surely. Okay.
two armored bodies of two Death Knights. One, a woman. It is an elven woman with very severely pulled hair, who is wearing plate mail with a broken sword next to her. And a male, this one a dwarf with a tower shield, also wearing black plate mail with a horned helmet on. He is laying with a warhammer that has been literally cut directly in two.
Seems like her.
You see that both of them have bled all over the floor and been dead for so long that their skin is gone.
That doesn't necessarily mean anything. They're technically undead.
It looks as though they were relatively whole at the point of their deaths, and that normal, although strangely odorless decay has happened to them.
I mean, if it's that long, it's probably about. Anyway, continue.
Around you, you see a strange assortment of obviously darkly magical items, what look to be some normal items that must be terrifying, and some truly horrendous objects that you don't want to even go near. You see what appears to be a bag with a rather pleasant, smiling face on it, hanging in one corner on the end of a root. A
I recognize? Like that I would be surprised to find here?
Let me go through them one by one.
Alright.
I'll tell you if you would recognize it. In one corner, hanging on the wall, there is it is clearly a cape, but the end of the cape, the tatters of this torn cloth, seem to curl into vaguely recognizable shapes, including a very solid wolf's head that with like gleaming eyes that is just staring at you from the bottom of the cape. And it sort of seems to ripple like darkness at the bottom and takes on like vaguely weird shapes at first, and then like shapes that uncomfortably resemble monstrous versions of your own faces.
Cool.
That's kind of cool.
It's super cool and terrifying.
Juniper, you recognize the lamp of a genie sitting on a rock.
Well, there's only one genie.
It's his lamp.
Huh?
Could I do anything with that to hurt him?
So, you don't know, and you cannot make a check to know about it.
Her eyes do widen at that, but she doesn't say anything.
On the opposite wall of the cape, synchronized in the distance from you, there is a skeletal hand sticking out of the wall, stuck in at like the brace of the elbow, and it is holding a sword. The sword looks very old and kind of busted up, but also has a wicked kind of spiny appearance to the blade. And while it's holding, the finger is going to kind of curl slightly and then beckon you to come.
I really want to go.
No.
I know.
There is a cape that appears to be just soaked in blood. It is dripping blood onto the floor, and you can smell the fresh scent of it.
That seems less than useful.
So it was a cape?
Yes.
Is anything fated?
What?
Is anything fated? Fated.
You
faded
are
twice
unsure at
for
the moment.
cape, too. Oh wait, is Hero with us?
Yes.
Daniel, you said it was a what soaked in blood?
A blood-soaked cape.
Okay.
You will see what appears to be a girdle with two angel wings sort of etched into it. It looks very much like a harness of some sort that, like, a very strong man might wear to showcase his strength. Sort of like an old wrestler's belt. And then you will see, dead at the other end of the room, something that you very much recognize. Both Isaac and Juniper would recognize the endless armor.
I see.
Isaac, this item was crafted by Harper's arch-nemesis, Zithrid, the Fate Weaver. The armor, when put upon, curses the wielder to kill whatever they love. Harper put on this armor and killed his son
Oh.
and his wife.
I now understand why Red has the key. Okay.
And that's why Harper had that bad response to. Got it.
And finally, you see something very strange. It is two glass capsules, like a machine of some sort, on the other side of the room. It vaguely resembles like lab equipment. It is quite large enough for like a human to fit in the capsules. And there is a tank beneath the two capsules It is filled with like a roiling ocean-like liquid.
What color is it?
Blue. Like kind of a thick dark blue. You also see where the crystal of long dreaming was taken from out of the wall. There's just like an empty spot. So, with that, with all that, what do you approach first?
I'm curious about the cloak personally. What do I see?
The cloak or the cape?
The cloak. The darkness ripply one.
Alright. So, as you approach it, it is going...
Not close enough for it to touch me, though.
So, like what?
Before you start, can you move the phone a little closer to you?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Okay. So the cloak, as you near, the wolf's head in the cloak begins to growl menacingly towards you.
Interesting.
And then you are going to see the faces of your family pass through the ink.
Go ahead and turn off the thing.
Yeah.
We can probably open the window and make it quieter. Actually, just 69 outside. Okay.
You are going to see the faces of your family in agony pass over the cape's tatters, screaming. The wolf head looks at you, seemingly with intellect, trying to gauge your reaction.
June does not allow a reaction. Considering the effect from the Satan's stone thingy, comparable, there's nothing.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Without reaction, the cape is going to stop writhing and is going to appear as a very tattered old cloak.
Can I see anything with, what's the word I'm looking for? There is a spell. Identify.
You cast Identify?
With my glasses. I forget I had that spell. That spell's amazing.
That is kind of amazing, honestly.
You feel a very powerful pull towards you to take the cloak and wear it when you cast Identify on it.
Oh.
You also hear vague eldritch whispers
Oh.
that sound like like nails on a chalkboard to your ears. Both repulsive and enticing all at once. You sense that if you are to put the cloak on, it will be very difficult to take off again.
Yes. Do I learn anything from it, like specifically?
It seems similar, to possess a might similar to Pit's. It seems somehow bound to a greater entity, perhaps even an entity of darkness. And it draws upon that creature's might.
Can you feel me? You see the heart on it and see anything?
You may try. Give me an Arcana check.
Should I hold you back? Because
I'm not touching it.
it calls you to do something.
So you might have to hold her back.
Yes.
I'm promising you won't have to.
24.
Okay. You are able to decipher from your very potent arcane skill that if you move within 5 feet of the cloak, it will attack you.
Ah, see?
But if you survive the attack, it will accept you.
What happens if it accepts you?
You can't tell that, but you can tell that the cloak allows a boon to those it accepts. You're able to cast Eldritch Blast from the cloak with all 3 benefits of incantations that a warlock can use.
Next question. Can I tell how it attacks? It's like a mental thing,
Yes.
which is like what it was starting to do when I was like sitting there going, really?
Yes. And what did you roll, perception-wise?
Sorry.
Isaac, what are you up to in here? You're the master of dark artifacts.
I'm thinking I cast Death Ward on somebody and have them approach the cloak.
This cloak or the cape?
Oh my god!
The one that attacks you before it gives you its boon, and you have to survive the attack.
Sorry, what was it? A what? Check?
DC 15.
But it was a
Perception.
right?
Yeah.
No, 10.
All right. As you look at the cloak, you're going to hear
Grabs your collar.
it
Just in
is
case.
a voice that draws you in, very soothing and sort of mesmerizing.
You'll see if you probably lean forward slightly.
It
That's
whispers.
when you get caught, and you're like, oh.
It whispers a camaraderie with you that both of you tempt death and have walked away. It says that it can help you in the future if death comes again.
I mean, she's a little interested.
Did she just get a new cloak?
Yeah. She's not. I mean, if you're holding her, she's not stepping
Yeah,
forward.
she does. She did specifically do that. The moment she saw you walk forward and she knows what it does, she's like, no. She goes, don't get within 5 feet of that thing, it'll attack otherwise.
What? She says, having not heard anything you just said.
She repeats herself.
It seems powerful. What is it? She asks.
It's kind of like a warlock all on its own. It's bound to a creature of darkness, I think. A greater entity. Though, apparently, if you can survive its attack, you will be able to wear it and use it. Whether or not you can take it off afterwards is debatable.
I don't like the idea of being bound to something, she says, and steps back slightly.
Do I know that? If you are accepted by it, can you take it on and off freely? Or is that something I don't know?
You do not think the cloak would freely give you the ability to take it off.
Yeah.
Who did he cast Death Ward on when he cast it on
Did you
himself?
actually cast Death Ward already?
I haven't cast it on anybody yet, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, yeah, that's what we
He
were
was
wondering.
getting
We couldn't
ready.
hear it.
I have it prepared and ready.
She goes, and she will turn and say, I think we should probably keep looking at them. And then we can discuss afterwards what we've learned.
I would have cast Death Ward on Prongor and have him wear the cape.
Oh,
and have
please
him
don't.
just shoot. Pew, pew, pew.
Do you order him to go get the cape?
No, not yet.
All right.
Not
Maybe
yet.
after we've looked at everything, I have Prongor do it. But I think Prongor shooting Eldritch Blast would be really funny.
I think Prongor going up to that cloak is his death. Or him being taken over by a dark being, because there's no way in hell Prongor survives that. Even with Death Ward, because it's not just death that I'm afraid of, it's possession.
Yeah.
Daniel, I'd like to inspect the machine thing, because Isaac suspects that it's Guardian tech.
As you head up towards the machine, you immediately can tell that it is not Guardian tech. It is instead seemingly the result of some mad wizard's work. Give me a Arcana check, please. And you may have advantage because of your background. And this was made by a fucking psychopath. Are you inspecting it?
That's where I was going next.
All right.
If he went in that direction, if somebody chose something, I would look at it too.
I
Okay.
think we're all
Figured
kind of
sticking
going
is a
together.
good idea.
Then go
Otherwise,
ahead and you
if
may
he's
roll.
gonna touch someone.
No advantage, though.
Really? I'm the actual mad scientist of the group.
I got a 19. Is that good enough?
Just saying.
Um,
You're a mad mechanist. I'm the mad scientist.
yeah, it's background stuff, so you don't get advantage.
Gosh, what did Isaac get up to in the past? If he, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
19.
Both of you rolled the same thing. Okay.
You know what? 20.
Oh my god.
You use a wish point to get plus
I
one?
do. I know they'll kick us over, so that's a little meta, but still doing it.
Okay. As you look over, the glass and the lower tank are one piece. But you can sense a bent teleportation spell rigged to trap prey inside. You also can sense a similar spell rigged in the tank. It looks like it teleports the liquid into the tank, or the into wherever the trapped person is. So a 19 will give you that almost assuredly the liquid is some kind of acid
Oh.
meant to burn a victim inside this chamber. But Juniper, the +1 makes all the difference in determining that while this is a type of acid, it has been magically, alchemically transformed. And it is much, much worse than that. Instead, trapped in this glass, it begins to rain this tank liquid inside and transforms the skin of the victim into precious metal.
Can it be used on other things?
Only living creatures. At which point,
Sentient or non?
just a larger, smaller creature.
Okay. Maybe.
So you have to touch it, and the teleportation triggers. And if you do, you're sucked inside. And there's some kind of additional spell, but you can't quite make it out yet. Some kind of additional sadistic trap.
I would like to use detect magic to try to decipher it.
Okay.
Or
Putting on the
identify
ultimate
your
magnifier,
choice.
you're able to determine that there is...
This is my one time to shine, guys.
What do
Here
you
we
mean
go.
your one time
Okay, well, this is
shine?
like made for me to shine.
Okay. There appears to be no doors or openings to the glass cover, but if a creature large or smaller comes into contact with the capsule, it must make a DC 15 strength saving throw. On success, nothing happens, and they are immune to the capsule's effect for 24 hours. On a failure, they are immediately sucked in, and the curse will be initiated. If a sibling or lover of the trapped one is within 60 feet, they also must make a DC 15 strength saving throw. And on a failure, they are sucked into the other capsule by an unknown force.
Well, that's disgusting. Can I learn anything from these spells? Are they like actually pretty like?
Once
pretty
inside, the capsule will begin spraying them with a strange magical liquid, this acid. The liquid transforms their skins and bones into precious resources, with some examples being gold, silver, ivory, marble, jade, or obsidian. The target becomes immobile and enters a dreamlike state. Once transformed, the transformation is completed, the statue will shrink down until it could fit in the palm of your hand. The creature is now a figurine of wondrous power.
How do you get them out?
You can't. They're stuck that way forever.
No. How do you get them out of the capsule?
Oh,
And is there one in there already? So, I mean, that was
there
not
is
a
no
hopeful-
figurine.
No.
Once the thing is complete and there's a capsule or there is a figurine of wondrous power inside, the capsules will open up and let somebody take the figurine of wondrous power from inside, and then relock over the course of an hour.
What is a figurine of wondrous power?
It is a magical item that you throw on the ground, and a creature that was trapped inside becomes your mind-controlled servant for 8 hours, and then transforms back into a little metal figurine for you.
They're trapped. The two of them are trapped in this thing together.
They become Pokemon,
Oh, it's horrible.
but mind-controlled slave Pokemon.
Oh, it's horrible.
How good does the spell work?
Extremely good.
Like, is it, like, surprising? Like, have I learned anything interesting from it?
Oh.
What? This
No,
could be
you
used-
knew all of this stuff.
Okay. Well, that's
The alchemical liquids knew.
okay. I wonder if I could... I wish I could get some of it out. Without, touching it.
Definitely a psychopath. Did this.
Yeah, like some kind of Jasia-minded like character probably built this
Should we
to
put
enslave
Jasia
people.
in there? Yeah. Do it when he's standing next to Ace. That's right.
Jesus Christ.
What?
So, the capsule is 300 pounds and quite large,
And you can't touch it.
and it requires a power crystal that costs 1 wealth point each in order to power it each time it is used.
Is it active now?
It is active now.
Oh yeah, so she's very actively, no pun intended. She very much says, don't touch that. You will regret it if you do. She will then
Mythia
tell
looks
everybody
intrigued.
what it does. Oh, less than 3. She goes, I wish I could get some of that liquid.
For what purpose?
Because if tinkered with, you can make it happen so it could be used as something else. It would be quite handy. It's just sadistically made right now.
It is twisted, Phelan says.
No, wait, Phelan didn't come in.
Nope. Yep.
Oh yeah, right. So, Red says that. And Hero looks horrified.
June jumps when he says it, and she turns back around and goes, yes. Yes, it is.
Well, exactly the kind of thing that deserves to be in here, he says.
Agreed. Which one should we look at next?
What about the skeleton arm beckoning us over?
I'm sure that's a great idea to touch it. Again, let's stay back, out of its reach.
We don't know what its reach is.
Well, clearly it can't reach us right here.
Isaac, this is what's triggering the Sin Stone. The sword.
Okay.
I feel like we might regret searching this thing.
Jennifer, as you approach the sword, roll a... Roll a investigation check, please.
Can I be aided?
No.
It's hard to read that guy. These are all hard to read. 18.
When you look at the sword and the skeletal hand, you suddenly realize that you've seen this sword before, although it is now broken. This sword was wielded by Satan at the end of the First War when his arm was cut off.
Holy shit, is that Satan's arm?
Yes.
June actually trips as she does it and then grabs whoever's next to her. No, you're too short. Yeah, you pull her down. She grabs your head.
Everyone goes down.
Yes, she does actually grab your head. And she.
You're all right, Red says. Hero's like trying to help you guys up.
Yeah, June actually does this. So that's Satan's sword,
Yes.
but it's broken.
Yes.
What do I know about Satan's sword? I mean,
Literally nothing. Except, third-handedly, it was referred to as the Blade of Wrath. Satan has made many of these, referred to as wrath blades.
But this was his personal one.
They're generally made for his sons and daughters. Devils. The devils he makes.
Yeah, but this was prior to that, right?
Was, yes. From the first one.
Was this the one he used to wield, like, when he was an angel?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, June, let's go.
There is no telling what sort of magics have encompassed this blade over the millennia, or what sort of dark curses have fallen on it at Satan's death.
Nobody touched that blade. How is that even here? What is it? June swallows audibly as she's pale. She
It was
goes,
found by Torgath, Red says.
he touched it?
I don't know. Stuck it in the wall, I know that. Probably used a lot of magical stuff.
That blade is called a wrath blade. The wrath blade. It's Satan's sword.
What?
And that is his arm.
What?
It was from his attack on Garen. Excuse me. It was from his attack on Garen. Before he fell. Who knows what spells and curses are on it.
Holy crud, Hero says.
Euphemia looks down at her little container of Satan's guilt.
Don't do it. You'll regret your life choices.
You'll regret your life choices.
She's tempted. She's not gonna do it.
Isaac, it is very clear now why the Sin Stone, also made by Satan, triggered on his own dead arm.
I recall Satan having.
Sorry, was muted. I recall Satan having both his arms when we last saw him.
She looks at you like you're dumb and goes, do you honestly think Satan would allow himself to not have two arms?
So
I'm just wondering, is this the original or just one of many?
It was his original one.
That sounds very potent, Prongor says. If it was his when he was still an angel.
At that comment, Isaac's gonna go look at the harness with the wings etched into it because this sword is terrifying.
June can't seem to take her eyes off of it for a short while.
Euphemia tries to reach up to grab her, to pull her back.
Alright,
You can tell she has no interest in touching it.
Isaac, you can immediately tell that this is a girdle of levitation.
Oh, fun. What horrible things does it do?
You can't tell.
Is it
You
faded?
just told me I could tell what it is. I don't.
You
know
can
what
tell it's a
girdle
girdle of levitation. You can't tell if it's additionally cursed beyond that.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Okay, if he can tell that at a glance, he's going to keep moving and he's going to go to the bloody cape.
All right.
Oh, God.
Roll a DC 27 history check.
Did you see a 27?
Please.
Have you?
Okay.
Bless yourself.
I mean, I think my only options were crit or nothing, so I got a 16, so I don't know.
You
Okay.
should bless me. After I, snap out of being horrified that his arm is there. He use his arm for anything. Do you really want to?
But instead of trying to look at it myself, I'll just ask, Vlash, I think, is the one who knows about history, right?
Okay. He says, "'Tis the cape of a revenant." One who is
Of a revenant?
one who is between life and death, he says. There is dark psychic pain trapped within it.
I'm telling you, your keyboard sounds like a rattle can so much.
Oh, can you guys hear that? Alright, I'll start muting it when I do that. I'm taking notes. Alright, I ask him what does it do?
'Tis difficult to tell, he says. I only know that its power, while terrible, is only slightly less than the staff itself.
Slightly less.
He says, I sense a corrupting nature inside. I would warn you against wielding it without proper study.
Okay. I dismiss him for now without asking a third question.
Alright.
June shakes her head and will walk over to... What have I missed so far?
The bag, the lamp.
Oh, the creepy bag. Look at the bag.
It is a bag of holding.
Yeah, what's wrong with it? Does it eat your hand if you put something in it?
I bet it's worse than
I'm
that.
going to observe it closely with my eye.
Should we throw it treats? Or like,
What is it holding right now as well? That's another good question. Like,
What is it holding?
More specifically, what will it do if you touch it? Is it cursed?
What are you using? The ultimate nullifier? The ultimate magnifier?
Yes.
Okay. Give me an investigation check.
June, Mrs. Rafe. Not great. 13.
Okay. When you look at it through the magnifier, you will see the bag, yes. But you will see, additionally, a vague ghost of some kind of what appears to be a neck coming away from the bag. Kind of fading into elsewhere.
Like connected to the creepily smiling face, the pleasant smiling face.
Correct.
Can you look at this when you think? Sure. She says what she sees, by the way, so that you have a bit better of an idea.
perception, right?
Yeah.
24. Nice.
Okay. So as you look in the bag, your eyes slowly begin to make out kind of thick, almost dinosaur-like neck that curves back, and as your eyes sort of slowly reveal in an extra-dimensional space attached to the bag, you see that the bag is in fact the orifice for a giant gluttonous creature, hidden always, with the bag as its anglerfish lure to get somebody to reach inside.
See, I told you. You stick your hand in, you get bit.
I think it does more than bite.
Yeah, well.
Did she see anything else about it? I think they're faded.
The creature vaguely resembles a hideously obese porcupine with a very tiny bag head and a very tiny neck, but its body is like puffed out, and it has very tiny limbs, absurdly tiny for its body.
That sounds kind of adorable to me, in a way.
Mythia says, well, that looks like it's a creature's mouth.
Thought so.
And you see only gluttony in the creature.
A very hungry creature.
Best leave that alone as well.
Well, I guess that just leaves that lamp thing.
I know what that is. And I think it's best left where it is.
You mean we can't touch any of this?
Well, you can if you wish to pay the ramification.
Did we check out the lamp yet?
June just said that she knows exactly what that is, and it's best if it stays here.
Oh, all right.
Well, what is it?
This is an out-of-game. It's Resitine, right?
Yes, I believe so. Present.
There's an entity called Resitine. It's what caused the... Actually, she told you guys about this guy before. Because it's when she said she got injured that one time. She goes, it's what caused the 13 days of chaos. This is connected to that being.
Oh. Yeah, maybe we won't touch that.
Although often Red probably weren't there for that conversation, but I don't feel like elaborating, so I'm not going to. Wait, Red, what's... I don't know. Me either, and it's not just because he's Red.
So, there's nothing down here that any of us could utilize.
Well, there are, but you have to be willing to, like I said, pay the price. I didn't look at the girdle over there, nor the cape. But did you learn anything,
Yeah,
Isaac?
I'd like to hear what June can tell about the blood cape. Or specifically, I'd like to know what June can... If June can tell what the blood cape does.
Oh. Go over and look at it. Again, keeping distance.
Give me a DC 27 history check.
She looks at Isaac and says, "Care to give me some luck?"
Oh yeah, I give June guidance.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just attempting to find my D4. Give me a sec. Really?
Everything down here really is
Jeez
terrifying.
Louise, kiddo.
Gaber, stop.
So while she does that, who do we want to be able to cast Eldritch Blast? Because I feel confident that we could take that cape.
It's not that we could take it, it's that you'd be stuck with it forever.
Yeah,
She
but
loves
it's,
that power, but she doesn't
I
want
mean,
to
I
master.
kind of want it.
Yeah.
But,
Gaber, stop.
yeah.
Good point.
Daniel, do we have the 3 magic item limit in this campaign?
Yes.
Okay. So if you do take it, that would permanently take up one slot.
Yep. What'd you get?
27.
Wow. Holy shit. Can you pick him up, babe?
Come on. Come on, baby. You got it. You can do it. Good boy.
It is a legendary item called the Blood-Soaked Cape. It requires attunement. Once, a poor knight happened upon a powerful dark entity within a bloodied red cape, and with its power, he drew from it and burdened himself with its dark consequence. His body was warped, and his blood turned a dark red. He drew upon its dark power one too many times, and the dark power within that simple cape ate away at his humanity and turned him into a mindless husk of his former self. The long red cape is split in half and seems to be its own living thing. When you take an attack action and attack with a melee weapon, you can use a bonus action to attack with the cape. The cape is a simple melee weapon, and you are proficient in its use. On a hit, it inflicts 1d6 necrotic damage. Its curse is called Blood Sigil. When you take 10 or more damage, you can call upon the power of the dark red blood to bolster you. Bolster your attack, adding 4d8 psychic damage to any melee weapon attack you make.
But
The effects wear off at the end of combat. But beware, the blood is calling you. The blood sigil will make its mark on your torso, creating an ulcer on your flesh that will grow bigger and bigger with each use of the blood. Every time the blood is used, upon the next dawn you will lose 3 hit points to maximum HP. The blood sigil is never completely healed, but its effects can be reversed by a greater restoration spell. Although your body will remain scarred as a reminder of that item's dark power. If you use the item 12 times, you will be afflicted with the overpowering need to know what the entity is, and the visions visions of the heart become closer and more vivid to you each time you see it begin to beat. You feel your emotions drain away from you, and you feel nothing now except deep obsession within your soul. Your mind slips farther, and your addiction stronger. You reduce your wisdom by 1, and the cape deals 4d12 psychic damage. And then it basically gets worse until you become a mindless husk of the cape.
is there any way that I can think of that would counteract it? That would make it anything useful?
Not this item, no.
She tells you guys that and says there's pretty much nothing you can do to make that thing not awful.
What about that other cave?
I imagine it's an attack that will target one's will, their emotions, their mind.
If you made a DC 27, I will give you the answers to either the girdle or the other cloak. Or the genie lamp.
Genie lamp? Sorry, guys.
Alright.
Sorry.
That's okay, I understand.
The genie lamp is a legendary wondrous item. You become attuned to the item once you rub it, unless you make a DC 25 wisdom saving throw. This does not. It also does not count against the limit to the number of attuned items you can have. A cursed lamp from which a genie has been set free. Rubbing the lamp traps you in the lamp, and you transform into a genie. You are trapped inside the lamp until a humanoid comes along and rubs your lamp. If or when they do, you must obey them, but you can try to convince them to free you. You must grant 1d3 uses of the wish spell to the person who rubbed your lamp, and they may now use one to set you free. Having to carry out a task counts as a wish for the purpose of for this purpose, and you get the ability to cast 3 wishes while you do that.
What happens if you're a free genie?
You become yourself again.
Do you still have the powers?
No. And then it describes how to be a genie in the lamp. And you get a tiny 20 by 20 by 20 room that you live in from now on.
Gotcha. Yeah, more's the reason. That thing frickin' stays here forever. Screw that thing.
What do you think, Isaac? He asks. Anything interesting in here to you?
Can I go and observe the belt? Because I didn't get to look at that.
Oh, additionally, you must twist the wish that the person gives you, or I have to do it.
Shocker. mean you have to make it nasty
Yeah.
results.
Yes.
Shocker.
And once you complete all the wishes, the lamp teleports you to a random point in all of existence, where a point or another mortal is likely to find it soon.
Yep, leave it here. It never leaves. This is where it lives for life. It's an existence. What can I learn about the belt?
I only gave you one.
I'm gonna go and do it myself.
Oh, okay. Give me an Arcana check.
Anyway.
Okay. It's quite simple, although rather silly. It's a girdle of levitation. You get a fly speed of 10 feet, but you lose all your ground speed when you wear the girdle, and it can only be removed with a remove curse spell.
She kind of chuckles when she reads that one.
It was probably made to, like, play tricks on people and, like, you know, make them float around without being able to land again.
She chuckles and she goes, well, this is surprisingly lighthearted. You know what I mean?
It could have had bad consequences, though.
Oh, yes. But still. Comparable to the other horrible things that are here.
Yeah.
Isaac?
Isaac, as you turn, you see the skeletal hand of Satan beckoning you towards the Wrath Blade.
June, what would happen if one of us touched that sword?
I don't know. But nothing good.
I'm standing here in a room full of heroes, so even if I felt risky, it's not like I could do it. Isaac doesn't say that, obviously. This is me talking.
Oh, okay. I thought you definitely said it. I thought you were, like, trying to have people, like, talk you out of it, like, I guess I wouldn't be able to do it even if I tried.
I guess you'd stop me, so... I don't know. I'm very... The rest of these are pure evil, and I'd love to put them in, like, an evil layer, but, like, we can't take them. Except for the tattered cape, I think I'd be remiss to leave that behind.
How do you suppose that we take that cape?
I think it's less a question of how and more a question of who.
June shakes her head. She does not think it's worth the risk. It's not strong enough to be considered.
Daniel, you said the Eldritch Blast come with all of the upgrades, right?
That's correct.
Can you try to see the heart
What
on it?
are all
one
the
more time?
upgrades?
On the what?
Can she try to see the heart on it one more time? She failed last time.
Alright, one more time.
What are all the upgrades?
300 foot, add charisma damage, and,
You can multi-target, right?
it already multi-targets. That's what Eldritch Blast does when you're a higher level than 5.
Do you get multiple shots? Like 3 shots?
26.
No, you don't get extra shots. The final one is,
26. 26.
it pushes back 5 feet every time you hit somebody with it. Repelling blast.
Are you trained in wisdom saves?
Would
Julian?
you-
26.
I think I'm trained in every saving throw.
What?
How?
It's one of my character things, I think.
What?
Bullshit,
No,
sir.
it's not.
Okay. Well, I am trained in wisdom.
You sense a malevolent intellect inside the cloak. You also sense its hold is worse than its bite. You don't think its bite is actually that bad, but its ability to hold is very strong. Like, talking like one ring here.
When you say bite, do you mean the initial fight it has with you, or do you mean its ability to be used against other people?
Its initial test. It's strong, but it's not. Its test isn't supposed to kill you.
It wants to hold you. What does it get out of holding you? Does she get that? Mm-hmm. See, that's what I'm concerned about. Who wants to be Gollum?
Listen, I already have something that possessed my body once, so if it wants to possess me, it can fight with that thing.
Oh my god.
Okay. You can't tell. What'd you get at 25?
26.
26. Okay. Looking into the cape, the worst thing the cape does is prevent you from sleeping.
Oh, well, we already got a person over there, doesn't anyway.
By sleeping, I mean long rest.
Oh. So no spells back.
It's not all the time, but it is a property of it.
Euphemia will share that with the group, everything that she just learned.
You require a DC 15 charisma save in order to successfully get a long rest whenever you try to take one.
Nope, I don't want it. Doesn't say anything about how to get it off you, does it? Doesn't see anything there about
26. The cloak can only be removed from you while you are alive by means of a wish spell or divine intervention.
that. Wow. Well, you guys are pretty damn lucky that I'm here. Wait, hold on. Wish spell in general?
The
or-
9th level spell.
Oh,
wish.
yeah, nope.
However, Prongor is going to lean in towards Isaac. Master, while you're alive.
What did Prongor say?
That's
The
funny.
cloak only holds on to people who are alive.
Was that specifically stated out of game when you're reading through that stuff?
Yes. It was.
Aren't you lucky to be, undead? You get all the cool shit.
I gave you 2 of the coolest fucking magic items in the game.
I didn't get
I gave you 5 of the best spells in the game.
He's getting 2.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
I don't get any of them. None of them work with cleric.
Yeah, none of them work with player. Unless some genius is able to manipulate them.
Just saying. I want either
Uh,
way. As long as it's not going to turn you into like a mindless revenant, I'm fine
I
with
mean,
it.
you guys
Because I
dealt with
can
that
always
once
use
already.
fire
You
power.
can do it again.
Huh? Say it again.
I said you guys dealt with that happening to me once already. Surely you can deal with it again.
I'm killing you next time. For realsies.
Okay, that's fine.
It'll be fine. For realsies. I'm not dealing
Okay.
with that crap again, sir. You're scary when you get taken over.
With that stipulation in mind, Isaac is gonna cast false life on himself, and then he'll approach it.
What? You need to cast false life on yourself? Can't you just turn undead?
I mean, I'm already undead.
But yeah, you can make your eyes the red type so that you're considered dead.
Yeah, he does that, and he does false life just as like safety, as insurance.
Gotcha.
As you approach the cloak, the wolf's head is going to appear and growl at you.
Question is, will it even attack you since you're dead?
Yeah, maybe not. In which case, I'm just gonna pick it up and put it on.
But then it'll attack you when you turn to life.
The cloak does attack you.
Okay. We overthought it too much.
Roll a DC 15 wisdom saving throw.
You
That's
can
not
do
that
it.
Let's pull up my character sheet.
gonna have Eldritch Blast in the group. Yay!
You said wisdom?
Yes.
Don't you dare prove me wrong and fail, sir.
25.
Okay, good.
Alright. You take 6 psychic damage from a dissonant whispers.
How much?
6 psychic.
Okay. Okay.
Alright. Do you, when you pass through, you feel a loud psionic noise attack your mind, viciously ringing in your head. And you pass through it.
I just thought of something else that we probably should have thought of before you did this.
And you are within touching range of the cloak.
Is it gonna behave itself when it's on somebody? Or does it still do the attacking thing? Well, we'll find out. Nope.
Isaac kind of grabs it like this and holds it up in the air in front of him.
What would be Isaac's preferred cloak?
Like, aesthetically?
Yes.
So there's a kind that's kind of fashionable in Selenox that is... It's kind of a regal blue with gold trim, and it has kind of a tall collar, and then kind of a belt around the neck that you can use to kind of cinch it shut.
As you pick it up, you have that cloak in your hand.
Ooh, okay. Isaac kind of has a smile on his face and says, well, this is certainly an improvement over how it looked before. And he'll take off his traveler's cloak and he throws it around his shoulders.
So, you feeling any, need more than usual?
As you put it on, the cloak is going to whisper to you of its power. It has 2 beneficial abilities and a curse. Beneficial ability 1, Eldritch Whispers. This one's double-sided. A double-bladed benefit. While wearing this cloak, any creature that comes within 5 feet of you is affected by the Dissonant Whispers spell, using your spell save DC. The spell's damage is always non-lethal. It does 3d6 damage on a DC wisdom save. But it affects everybody, even friends.
So, you're not allowed to go into crowded areas anymore, sir.
Okay, what next?
Eldritch Outgrowth. While wearing this cloak, you can use Eldritch Blast. When you do so, it has all 3 Warlock Invocation upgrades. And the curse. This cloak cannot be removed from you while you are alive, except by means of a wish spell or divine intervention. Whenever a property of the cloak is used, including the Eldritch Whispers, you take 2 points of necrotic damage. The necrotic damage cannot be reduced or avoided in any way. During a long rest, the wearer must make a DC 15 Charisma saving throw. On a failure, you don't gain any benefits of that long rest.
Okay. Does the Dissonant Whispers, does that affect something continuously if they stay close to me, or just once?
So it says, come within 5 feet of you. I'm going to, if they enter that space, it hits them. If they leave and then enter again, it hits them again.
Okay. So then, now the first thing Isaac will try to do is take it off.
Tell me how.
He just kind of threw it over his shoulders, so now he's just going to try and pull it off of him.
What state are you in, please? Are you alive or dead?
He's been dead the whole
I've
time.
been... What Sarah said.
Okay. The cloak will not work with you unless you are alive.
So you needed to be alive this whole time.
Okay.
Didn't I call it?
So you have to spend an action to become alive. The cloak takes effect, whispers into your mind how it works, and then you take an action to become dead.
Right.
And then you take it off.
Okay. So for the purposes of action economy, it's a full action to switch states.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, this would be the most broken item in the entire game.
So while
Yes,
it's
it would
not
be.
worn, does it enter the state it was in that was hanging on the wall?
No.
It's
You
owned
can-
now.
It is owned. It will not dissonant whispers anybody.
Okay.
Only while it is worn by him.
Okay. I no longer am completely opposed to this. All
It
right.
does require attunement, but it can only be attuned to by a warlock or a death cleric.
Well, there you go.
Oh.
Dang it.
There we go. All right.
It was meant for you.
I wondered who that cloak was made for.
Okay, it was very difficult to find the useful item in this group, so I give you guys kudos.
I'd say this is probably the only one, unless we decided to become a party of villains.
I will say no more.
Aw. I really want to touch that friggin' sword. Sarah wants to. Sarah wants to so bad.
Lucy wants
Oh
to
my
so
god,
bad.
Sarah wants to do it.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, noble heroes, as we have plundered the dark loot of the Forgotten Place, at least so far. But perhaps there's even more to delve, who knows? And we'll go ahead and call the session there. Thank you for joining us, and do try this at home. All right, see you later, Julian. Have a good one.
Bye, Julian.
Bye. Have a good night.
See you next session.
Daniel, can you unplug this while you're down there?